It's Mighty Morphin Faustin time! Hello, hello. Welcome on in. I just sent out the ping. I have set up my reading material. I have with me some water with a bit of a sore throat because I don't know why. I think I just haven't been drinking enough water. Which is so odd because I mostly only drink water. I have a little bit of juice in the morning, or like a cup of juice in the morning. And then I'll have like some juice later at night. Sometimes I'll have tea, sometimes not. But normally I'm just drinking water. Hey, Abby. My throat's been sore. And also I have like something to do after this. I need to go run a quick errand. So I'm definitely probably not going to finish tonight. Finish Faust tonight. And I'm probably going to run through Classical Walpurgis Night. And then like maybe Act 4. And then next week I can just run through Act 5. You know? Because right now we're almost through Act 2. And then in Act 3 there's 2 more scenes. Honey ginger tea helps with sore throats. Yeah, honey ginger tea. Avoiding caffeine, avoiding like very sweet, sickly things like juice, for instance, which is I just had some earlier, so I probably shouldn't have had that. But I don't know what it is. But my plan is run through this, go do an errand, come back, put the final finishing touches on the synthetics TTRPG that I made, drop that today. I'm gonna upload it probably to Itch. I might upload it to Patreon as well. Free. I'm not charging nothing for it. And then folks on the Discord will basically get like 24 hours before I announce it on YouTube. Walpurgis Night, Walpurgis Snatch, Madoka. Okay, I keep having people bring up Madoka Magica to me, and I still don't know what it is. And I don't know if I want to know what it is. However, people feel passionately about it. People bring it up often enough that I feel like I should know, purely by osmosis. But last we left off with Faust. Faust was acting as the court sorcerer of the king or emperor. The king or emperor got tricked. I guess like the lord of the realm was tricked into establishing paper currency by Mephistopheles because apparently that's a bad thing. But everyone loves the emperor for it. And I assume that's Goth expressing displeasure at the state of the world and the state of Germany adopting paper currency. I assume this is like metaphor. This is artist inserting himself into the work. It's one of the first magical girl animes who has Faustian bargains baked into the magical girl system. Understood. That makes a lot of sense then. Man, So in the beginning of this, when Faust first meets Mephistopheles, they have a wizard duel. And I think it's so funny. I think it's so weird. It makes me want to make another system. So after my synthetic system, I'm going to finish the Creatures TTRPG. Promise I'm going to do that. I don't know how I'm going to format it. Formatting has taken much more time than I thought it would. I've been spending like 2 weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks on the synthetics TTRPG, where I've been working on it like on my off time. I've never really I've devoted a couple hours to it at a time, but I haven't really devoted a day to it. I kind of devoted yesterday to it a bit. So I've only spent a bit of time on it, but it's also like 40 pages, all of the rules, and also enemy templates, and also how to play. Like it's the entire package is like 40 pages, so not too long. This is the Creatures TTRPG is much longer, so that will take longer to format. That will take longer to look pretty. That will take longer to ensure that the mechanics are all like not terrible, because that's always something I'm scared of. But I still have to write some more stuff for it, because every time I think I'm done, I'm like, well, no, this is kind of a missing piece. And like, yes, I understand scope creep will kill projects, but I think this is kind of necessary. So heretofore. So I get those two out of the way. And then I want to make a TTRPG. I want to make another small TTRPG where it is like the classes are archetypes, not like fighter or wizard, but like you play as the noble an honorable swordsman from, for instance, Princess Bride. You get to play through the duel of Inigo Montoya and the Dread Pirate Roberts. You get to have a wizard duel calling upon the elements of the world with both like with Faust and Mephistopheles. And I can think of some really cool systems to do that. I think I can make it cool. And then I think I could add one or two other archetypes. And probably I would make one based off of like a cleric, and I'd make one based off like a rogue, and I would have it be, you can be your classic D&D party, but all of you are like, you're not just a fighter, you're like the honor, like the honorable combatant is your martial class. And then the like elementalist, the animist, is your wizard equivalent. Make a 5-man band as the 5. I could make it 5 to make it a 5-man band. And I could base it off of the actual, like I could deconstruct the 5-man band, and I could just, okay, what about like a 1-page TTRPG system where the system's called 5-man band, and exclusively you can only play it in groups where you have 3 people, 2 people, or 5 people, because the players are, or I suppose you could play it as 4 as well, because you could just be missing one. Anyway, point is, it has to be a group, can't be solo. Like, it can't be one-on-one. But the whole point of the system is everyone is like, you literally choose which role in the group you are. You really choose what 5-man band member you are. And then from that, you get to get different special abilities, and like you can upgrade and get different powers or whatever. And then you have challenges that reference like, hey, this enemy, when they come in, they can automatically challenge the big guy to a duel. And suddenly you have the big guy fighting someone. Or you have someone who's just like, this character can target anyone but the heart and like disenfranchise them and make them feel completely disconnected from their emotions. And so then the heart has abilities to combat that, but the heart can't be stopped by that. And the big guy's probably going to be able to fight off the enemy. That's such a good idea. That's such a good idea. Faust is not a 5-man band. Classical Walpurgis Night. Scene 3, Farsalian Fields, Darkness. New character. The Lancer is prone to going on side quests for scene. Exactly, like, no, that's the sort of abilities they would get. Like, the Lancer, one of their abilities they can pick up would be like, steal the spotlight. And when anyone else is in a scene, you can, like, once per session say, actually, I'm the hero of this story. Or, like, that could be a different ability where it's like, so you steal the spotlight from them, where after someone fails a roll, you can step in and say how you did it better. And then you roll for them. And then if you succeed, you managed to... It's not that they would have failed, it's that they would have succeeded, but you stole the spotlight from them. Right? So it's the idea of, on a player level, I failed my role. So you as the Lancer are going to help me by, like, giving me a reroll effectively. But narratively, I would have done it. I would have stopped the bomb. I would have caught the bad guy. But then the Lancer butts in and, like, steals the credit. That would be such a good system. Okay. Write that down. Write that down. Put it in the Discord. Okay. But then, like, you could have, like, the smart guy who's, like, your support and focuses on buffs. You could have a heart who, like, you could have different types of damage. You could have physical damage, but you could also have emotional damage. So you have, like, the healer is the heart, but only for, like, emotional damage. And then no one can heal physical damage. So it's this idea of, like, generally enemies can, like, make cutting jabs that will damage your morale, and it's up to the heart to, like, boost that back up and give you a benefit. This is... wait. Then there could be a cohesion stat where you have a relationship with every other character, and based on your connections with them, you increase your cohesion, and you can do special team, like, moves with each other, and then based on your cohesion, like, enemies will try to break up your cohesion, and then some enemies will have cohesion with each other that you can try and break up. it would be so good, because then you could have like the heart, who's very like defensive and helps your cohesion, and then the lancer and probably the smart guy would be the two who are good at breaking up enemy cohesion. Because then it's the idea of like the smart guy knows to play them off of each other, and the lancer is just so abrasive that they understand how to push divides into each other. Meanwhile, like the leader is just really good at having like naturally, like the leader's thing is cohesion. The heart's thing is morale damage. The lancer's thing is like being like a glass cannon or like star of the show kind of deal. The big guy is just reliable in a fight, deal big damage, take big damage. And then the smart guy is the one that can do a little bit of everything. Like the leader probably would be able to do everything. But I think I get healer from heart and support from smart guy. You know? And then it would be like, oh, I have 4 people in my group. So they're going to play the big guy, the heart, the leader, and the lancer. And so they don't have a smart guy. And then what it would probably be is that every single group has to have a team name. You have to be coordinated outfit-wise in some way, whether it is you all have like contrasting colors, or you all have like the same outfit, or like something like that. And then there always has to be 5 people. So if you don't have 5 players, one of them is an NPC or 2 of them are an NPC. And then you can also have like the 6th ranger that comes in if you have 6 players, and then they have their own archetypes. And then you could have like NPC archetypes, like the wise old mentor and like the child sidekick. And then you can have like all of the tropes come by and like help out. We cooking. And then the best part is you wouldn't even need to make it super complicated. Like a lot of people clown on Powered by the Apocalypse. This would be a great Powered by the Apocalypse system. This would be a really like neatly slotted in Powered by the Apocalypse system where it's just you roll 2d6, and then if you roll a 6 or lower, that's one thing. A 7 to 10 is another thing, and 11 plus is another thing. And like all of your abilities are just and like your archetype, your playbook is just related to what archetype you are. Gosh, so many good ideas. Aristo. I've never met this man before. To this night's ghastly revel, as full oft before, I hither come, Aristo, I, the sad of mine, yet not so loathly as with calumny's gross tongue, the libelous poets paint me. Though if praise or blame, nor no stint nor measure no, the veil through all its length is white as with a seed of tents all bash grey, and after reflex of that awful ghastly night, how oft already has it been repeated? 'Twill be through all time repeated. Empire no one yields to another, no. Not even to him by whom 'twas won by force, though by force is swayed. For who, through powerless to rule his inner self, is not intent to rule his neighbor's will, at the proud dictates of his own. But here to signal proof to bitter end was fought, how power raised itself amongst the mightier power. Wrens freedom chaplet fair with all its 1,000 flowers, and stubborn laurels round the victor's brow entwines. Here Magnus of the day of his first greatness dreamed. There Caesar watched the wavering balance shake. Here shall they grapple, well the world the victor knows, with tongues of ruddy flame the watchfire glow, the ground a semblance of the blood that died at erst exhales, and by the night's most strange and weird like sheen allured, the beings of Hellenic legend going to throng. The fabled forms of ancient days unstably flit around the fire, or sit in circles at their ease. The moon, though only half her orb, resplendent, clear, climbs up to the sky, and fills the vale with mellow light. The phantom tents fade out, and bluely burn the fire, but lo! What meteor strange comes sailing through the air? Itself illumed, a ball corporeal it illumes. I scent life near at hand, destructive as I am. To all that lives 'twill not beseem me to remain. 'Twould bring me ill repute, advantage none at all. Now it descends to earth. 'Tis best that I retire. The aerial travelers. Oh, right. Mephistopheles brought Faust after Faust got in trouble with the king back to his old laboratory, and Faust's old associate was making a homunculus, and now the homunculus called Mephistopheles' daddy and is working for him and is showing him where to go next. Just trope talker, trope. I don't know. I feel like naming the system like Trope Troop. So the system would have to be like the 5-man band, right? I don't know. It fits. Hover in the air, o'er these flames and phantom dreary. Down within the valley there, things look spectral, wild and eerie. As a north through casements old, ghastly shapes and horrors rare, hideous ghosts I now behold, here I'll be at home as there. See yon figure, long and gaunt, swift away before us gliding. She looks troubled, to her haunt through the air to see us sliding. Let her go, set down thy fright, that paladin of dreams unstable, and life will come back to him straight. He seeks it out in the realm of fable. Where is she? Cannot say, good sir, but here you get news of her. From fire to fire till dawn do you unceasingly your quest pursue. Should anything his courage daunt, who would dare invaded the mother's haunt? I, too, here have part to play, and there can be no better way than for us each to seek his own adventures amongst the fires alone. And thou, small friend, to reunite us, shalt ring, and with thy radiance light us. Thus shall I blaze, thus ring for you. Now haste away to marvels new. Where is she? Wherefore now inquire? If this were not the land that bore her, these not the wares that paddled over her, this, at least, the air that did her speech inspire, here in Greece, here by a marvel swept, I knew at once the soil in which I stood. A spirit fired my lifeblood as I slept. Antinous-like, I feel a giant's mood. And though my path be thronged with visions dire, I will explore this labyrinth of fire. Okay, so I don't know who this is, but she saw, I thought they were mask because it's though. And generally, O is a masculine suffix, but saw the aerial travelers, which is the homunculus, Mephistopheles, and Faust, who are riding on a broom. Mind you, the homunculus can fly. Mephistopheles and Faust are riding on a broom. And they're looking for the mothers again? They're in Greece, I don't know. As in and out among these flames I flirt, I'm quite put out, for almost all I view is naked, only here and there a shirt. The sphinxes lost to shame, the griffins too, and all these long-tressed things of winged kind, bare to the eye in front, and bare behind. We relish rarely what is gross and free, but really, the antique's too lively even for me. And on it we must our modern views impress, and clothe it in the latest style of dress. A hideous crew, yet must I not neglect to greet them with a stranger with respect. Hail, lovely females! Hail, ye grizzled sages! Not grizzled. Griffins! No one likes to hear himself called grizzle. Every word betrays its lineage by the sound which it conveys. Grey, gruesome, grizzled, graves, grim, grisly, all of the same root etymological. Grate on our ears. And yet it cannot be that in the griffin you dislike the grit? Of course not. Kindred as it is with what, if something censored, often our praise has got. A man should grasp at beauty, empire, gold, fortune the grasping favors and the bold. You speak of gold. We had collected heaps and stored them close in caves and rocky keeps. The Aramaspians? The Aramaspians, they found out the place, hid all away and mock us to our face. We'll force them to acknowledge where it lies. Not on the night of Jubilee, until tomorrow all are free. This time we're certain of our prize. Mephistopheles stationed himself between the sphinxes. Quite comfortable here, I feel, for you I comprehend and know. Then what our spirit tones reveal, clothe thou with shape, if this be so, that we may know thee, let thy name be told. The names men call me are by manifold. Say, are there any Britons here? They're always roaming far and near, to spy out battlefields, old crumbling walls, drear spots of classic fame, rocks and waterfalls. Meet goals were this for them, and they, if here, would testify. In the old play, they talk of me as Old Inquiry. And why? That's just what puzzles me. Perhaps, canst thou read the starry book? What sayest thou to its aspect, then, tonight? Star courses star, the shaven moon shines bright, and I'm delighted with this cozy nook, and warm me rarely 'gainst thy lion skin. To go up higher were a loss to win. Come now, enigmas or charades propound. Propound thyself. Enigma more profound than thou 'twere scarcely possible to start. So, then, essay to fathom what thou art. What to the pious and the heedful, or wicked men alike is needful, to that a butt to try his foil on, to this is a chum, to folly to beguile on, and every way a thing for Zeus to smile on. I can't abide him. What does he want here? Such scum, why should we suffer near? You think, perhaps, my nails are not a match for your sharp talons should we come to scratch. Try, then, just try. Remain if you desire. Ere long you will be anxious to retire. At home you can do anything you please. Here, if I err not, you are ill at ease. Above, no daintier bit of flesh I know, but I shudder at the beast below. False churl, beware, or deadly shall ye rue. These claws of ours are sharp and fell. Lord of the shrunken hoof, no place for you, our circle holds, and that ye know full well. What birds are those on yonder bough, among the river willows there? The best have fallen a prey ere now to such sing-song, so thou beware. Ah, why wilt thou linger longer amidst the wonders of the unsightly? Hark, we come, a chorus sprightly, carolling Medley's song, as beseems the sirens' throng. Force them to come down, for they hide among the leafy spray. Their long talons, hooked and hideous, which on thee will fall perfidious, should thou listen to their lay. Hatred, envy, hence take wing. We take the purest pleasure bring, which beneath the welkin be, best of water, best of earth, shapes of beauty, shapes of mirth, shall combine to welcome thee. These are the new vagaries fine, where note round note is made to twine, from throat or strings with curious art. On me, the caterwauling's lost. It titillates my ears at most, but fails to penetrate my heart. Speak not of heart. What heart hast thou? A shriveled leaden flask, I vow, for face like thine were heart enow. How wondrous, yet how fine, where'er I gaze, even in the loathly, grand impressive traits, there's something tells me this way fortune lies. Where do they bear me, these calm, earnest eyes? Ha! Before such stood Oedipus of yore. Even Ulysses crouched in hempen cards before. By such a priceless treasure was amassed. By these 'twas guarded safely to the last. Which newborn life I feel my soul expand. Grand are the forms, the recollections grand. Time was, you would have been banned these creatures here, but now, it seems, to them you're well inclined. For where a man is hunting for his deer, monsters themselves a ready welcome find. Ye female forms must answer me, whoe'er among you hath seen Helena the fair. Not to her age did we pertain, the last of us by Hercules was slain. From Chiron thou mayst tidings gain, he will be roaming hereabout tonight. Much mayst thou hope, if thou canst stay his light. Thou too should not lack for glory, as Ulysses stayed behind us, neither mocked us nor defied us, much he learned for after story. Come unto the bright great sea, come and dwell with us, and we, all we know, will tell to thee. Noble child of the earth, away! Heed not their delusive lay. Let our counsels bind thee fast, as Ulysses to the mast. Find great Chiron, he will show all thy heart desires to know. What are these unsightly things? How they croak and flap their wings, scarce visible, so swift they go, and one by one, all in row. It would make a tired sportsman, these. Like the wintry storm blast flying, Alcides' shafts almost defying. These are the fleet Stymphalides. These are the fleet Stymphalides, though in the horse that croaking scent, yet their greetings kindly meant, with their vulture beaks and feet. Webbed like geese, they fain would win, footing here in our retreat, as being to ourselves akin. Mephistopheles is scared? I thought he was like the devil, or like this a scion of the devil. More monsters still among them hiss and play. These are the heads, nay, dread no ill, of the Lernaean snake, that think there's something still, though from the trunk dissevered many a day. But what's the matter with you, say? You look uneasy, twist awry. Where would you wish to go? Away! Yon group I see has caught your eye. Do not constrain yourself to stay. Be gone to them. You'll stumble there, on many a visage passing fair. They are the Lamia, wantons rare, with smiling lips and foreheads bold. Revel the satyrs fit to hold. with them what may not go foot there. You'll stay, then, here or hereabout, that I again may find you out. Go mingle with the rebel rout. Long has our native Egypt known, our kith and kindred keep their throne. Thousands of years, we shall not weary soon. Ours is no fickle fleeting state. Moveless ourselves, we regulate the periods of the sun and moon. Before the pyramids we sit. The nations dree the doom before us. War, peace, or deluge, and no whit of charge or turning passes o'er us. Maybe when he's in humanish form, he's vulnerable to getting nommed by monsters? Yeah, but like, what if he just unhumaned? Stymphalides? No, that's a wiggy whacked one. Stymphalides, these nuts. It was the delay that made it for me. Hey, Coid. Right, this is penis. Sorry, I was trying to figure out how to pronounce this, and I forgot that we agreed that it was pronounced penis last week. Stir, ye sedges, swaying slowly. Breathe, ye tangled rushes, lowly. Wave, ye willows, softly sighing, to the aspen's thrill replying. Midst the pauses of my dreams, but a thunderous murmur dread scares me before my slumberous bed, neath the ever-flowing streams. Hear I rightly, then I ween, and behind the leafy screen of these woven bows and noises, like the sound of human voices. Yeah, each wavelet seems to be prattling merrily. Lay thee down lowly, thy joy will be full. Rest thy o'er-wearied limbs in the cool. The peace shall come o'er thee, that evermore flees thee, will lisp or will whisper or murmur to please thee. I wake indeed, I see them well, these forms of grace unmatchable, in beauty palpable in sight. What transports strange my spirit sees? Can these be dreams or memories? The shadows of an old delight, the limpid waters as they stray through bushes green that gently sway. Above them, scarce a murmur make, 100 rills together meet in one broad, clear, unruffled sheet of waters deep, a crystal lake. Young female forms, plump, debonair, that fill the eye with rapture, there are in the liquid glass mirror glass. In merry groups to bathe they come, some stoutly swim, wade shyly some, shout, splash in sportive fray at last. Could these content mine eyes should find enjoyment here? But no, my mind looks farther, and with vision keen would pierce yon thick embowering roof of clustering leaves, whose tangled woof conceals the glory of their queen. Oh, wondrous! Swans bright of hue from leaf-scattered nooks swim into view, with slow, majestic pace, all side by side serenely steering, their neck and crest right proudly rearing, as conscious of their grace, yet one that breasts that glassy tide, outstripping all, a statelier pride, and bearing seem to vaunt with pinions all blown proudly out, he cleaves the waves that curl about, and nears the sacred hunt, to the rest glide softly to and fro, with feathers smooth and white as snow. But lo, their crests in wrath they set, and put to flight the fearful maids, who seeking safety in their glades, their mistress queen forgets. Sisters, sisters, lay your ear to the shore's green brink and say, if, like me, the beats you hear of horses' hoofs that come this way, much I marvel who tonight message bears in stormy flight. The earth rings with a hollow sound, as far from a horse. The earth rings with a hollow sound, as from a flying courser's bound. There, see there, should fate so rare be mine, then would all be well. Oh, marvel without parallel. A horseman on a snowy steed, high mettle in his looks I read, comes trampling on and on to me. I do not err, 'tis he, the son of Philira. Philira? The son of Philira, the far-famed one. Stop, Chiron, stop! I speak with thee. Never confuse the lower pinois with the upper pinois. Oh no. What wouldst thou? Pause, I prithee. I may not rest. Then take me with thee. Mount. I then may question thee at will. Whither wouldst go? Thou standest here on the banks? Wouldst thou cross the stream? I'll take thee. Pausing still? Where'er thou wilt, and win my endless thanks. The great man thou, the teacher rich in glory, who reared a race of heroes high and bold, those gallant Argonauts renowned in story, and all who made the poet's world of old. Best speak no more of that. In Pallas hath not always honor as a mentor gained. Men will be men, and hold their wayward path. Do what we will, as though they'd never been trained. The leech who gives a name to every plant, knows every root, its virtue and its haunt, has balm for every wound, and physic for every pain. mind and body's force here to heart my strain. Were hero stricken down, I still could find all needful aid and skill his hurt required, but I find my leechcrafts long since resigned to simple culling bedlams and friars. Well did poets feign Disguise and Circe, brother and sister, and both children of the sun, for in all times, in the opinion of the multitude, witches, old women, and impostors have had a competition with physicians, and commonly the most ignorant are the most confident in their undertakings, and will not stick to tell you what disease the gall of a dove is good to cure. So, this is basically just a reference to the idea that physicians often were competing with like witches, imposters, like snake oil salesmen, and it's the idea of the more confident you are, the less trustworthy you should be. Because it's, if I'm going to confidently tell you the snake oil is going to fix all of your issues, or I'm just trying to sell you snake oil and it will solve your problems, and I don't tell you which problem it will solve, that isn't trustworthy. But someone who says, oh, my time is long behind me, I haven't really caught up with it, like I'm not really someone who's knowledgeable, that's someone that you can trust because they're not just trying to sell you something. The Pinot Noir is a wholly different subject, although I could go for some wine about now. Eras to say so for wine tasting, though. I actually went wine tasting when my family was here a couple weeks ago, and I just sat there and drank water. Because, like, my family was drinking wine and, like, trying these, like 5 different wines. It was, like, one free one up front. So it was, like, 3 whites and 3 reds. And I just sat there. And I had my water, and I didn't have any food, and I didn't have any wine. And I was just like, nice. And then they kept being like, oh, you should smell it. Like at least smell the wine. I'm like, okay, this smells like alcohol. This smells like wine. And there was a couple where like it smelled slightly different. But overwhelmingly, it was just like, man, I had like 6 things of wine that I smelled, and all of them just smelled like alcohol. Because I don't know the difference between like a Pinot Noir and a Pinot Blanc. Drinking is overrated. Drinking is overrated. It's expensive. It's not healthy. It makes you do stupid stuff. But it is a fantastic social lubricant. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I, as someone that does not drink and have been out to social events where people are drinking, it's weird. You are the weird one when everyone around you is drinking. And I don't just mean like college age. I also mean like go to a bar. Why are you at a bar if you're not drinking? Genuinely. Like if you're trying to meet someone, or you're just trying to like pass the night, or even if you're like playing darts or something, like those are all stuff where you're going to be drinking when you do that. And so unless you're like a designated driver with friends, generally you're a weirdo if you're not there and drinking. Same thing with like, I experienced this in college when I went to a couple parties, or just like with friends who were drinking. I wasn't drinking. I didn't have anything, and I was the only sober one there. And everyone else was like tipsy at worst, right? Some people got a little bit worse. Some people got a little bit better, depending on where it was. But like, I'm stone cold sober. Like, I'm not doing that. And it's weird. I look like a weirdo. And it's such an odd experience. Now I think I still stand by the fact that I think you're better off just not having alcohol because, one, it's expensive. Like, if you're having, let's say, a bottle of wine every 2 weeks, and you get a not super cheap one because you actually want good wine, that's gonna add up. Like, call it $200 a month, or no, if it was once every 2 weeks, it would probably be like $100 a month, a little bit more than that. If you are someone that has like hard lemonade, or you drink beer with your dinner, if you're European and you have wine with like lunch and dinner consistently, you're going to go through way more wine. Not to mention it's a ton of calories that are fairly empty. A lot of people say they don't even like the taste that much. If you are drinking consistently, your tolerance is going to go down, which means that you can drink more without feeling it, which is good for daily usage. But if you actually want to go to an event where you get slightly buzzed or slightly tipsy, you're going to need to drink more there, which It's this weird thing where if you go to an event with alcohol and you're not drinking, you're weird. But if you drink too much, that's also weird. People are going to make assumptions about you, even if you don't make a fool of yourself. So it's something where, like, it's this weird line to walk. And, like, I'm just not a part of that world. But I do think that it is something where I would advise most people to cut down, if not stop entirely. Not even for, like, a moral panic thing. Literally just from a cost and health perspective. And by health, I'm literally talking like calories. I'm not even talking about like DUIs and risk of damaging yourself or your reputation. Literally just from alcohol will make you put on weight. Because that's what it does. The truly great art thou, whose ear his proper praise is loath to hear, who shrinks from view and seems to be but one of many great is he. And thou, methinks, hast flattering wile, both prince and people to beguile. At least confess thou hast stood face to face with all the best and greatest of thy time, with noblest spirits vied in virtue's race, and lived the strenuous life of demigods sublime. Then tell me, midst thee grand heroic forms, which of thee all possess the goodliest charms? In that brave Argonaut circle shone, each hero was a lustre of his own, and by the force that in his soul prevailed, supplied the void wherein his comrades failed. Ever where youth and manly grace held sway, the Dioscuri bore the palm away. Resolve and speed to act for others' ease, the glory was of Borides. Borides nuts! Got him! Far away, wary, firm in counsel wise. So lorded Jason, dear to woman's eyes, except Medea. Got him! Then Orpheus, gentle, given to muse apart, whenever he swept the lyre. Then Orpheus, gentle, given to muse apart, whenever he swept the lyre. Then Orpheus, gentle, given to muse apart, whenever he swept the lyre, subdued each heart, except for Eurydice. Keen-sighted Linnaeus. Keen-sighted Keen-sighted Lynceus, he by shine and dark, steer on o'er rock and shoal the sacred bark. The danger may share we scarcely fear, and toil grows light, with others by to cheer. But will that not tell me now of Hercules? Oh woe! Awaken not sad memories, nor Mars, nor Phoebus had I viewed, nor Hermes, born of Maia's line, when on day before me stood, what all men worship as divine. A monarch born was he, in all youth's noblest graces past compare, and yet his eldest brother's thrall, and thrall of women passing fair. Not earth shall yield his like again, nor Hebe to the gods present. Men weave for him their lays in vain the sculpted stone torment. Liar, liar, shut up, okay? No, but that's the thing, right? Because Jason, I will clown on for a number of reasons, but not least of which is the fact that Medea was a very powerful witch who he was married to, and that he ran away with for a much younger woman because that's what Greek heroes did. But Medea was like really cool and also really powerful and also not someone to run away from and go cheat on. At the very least, like, drop her, you know? At the very least, walk up to her and be like, hey, I'm Jason. I am descended from the divine. I don't think that we're working out, and I'm going to walk away from you, and tell her, because then she gets upset at you, but then she doesn't chase after you thinking that she needs to rescue you, then finds you with another woman. Orpheus did charm Eurydice. Absolutely. And he did charm Hades. And he did charm Persephone. And he did charm basically everyone. He, in Orphic mythology, literally played so well that when people threw rocks at him, the rocks avoided hitting him because his song was so beautiful. However, El Bozo, you looked behind yourself. So then, not all the sculpture's cunning can embody charm so superhuman. Thou'st told me of the finest man. Now, tell me of the finest woman. What? Woman's beauty to portray, I deem it but a bootless task. Too oft it is, alas the day, an icy chill and moveless mask. But her alone can I count, as lovely be she maid or wife, from whom doth flow, as from a fount, a stream of bright and gladsome life. Self best is beauty, look who list. Grace has a charm none may resist, like Helena, whom once I bore. Whom once did you bore? I, on my back. Whom once you bore? I, on my back. Was I not crazed enough before, but I must light on such a track? She twined her hand into my hair, as thou dost now. Oh, joy most rare! My sense is real. Say how, I pray, she only is my soul's desire. Whence, whither didst thou bear her, say? Soon told is what you thus require. The Dioscuri had, it happened then, freed their young sister from some thievish men, who, little used to yield, took heart of grace, and, mad with fury, gave their victors chase. On sped the fugitives, but the morass hard by Eleusis checked them as they flew. The brothers, waiting o'er, contrived to pass. I caught her up, and, swimming, bore her through. Then she leapt down, and, in a childlike vein, playing and fondling with my dripping mane, thanked me in tones so sweet, yet calm and sage. Oh, what a charm she had, young, yet the joy of age. Scarce 7 years old. The philologues, I see, self-mystified themselves, have cheated thee. Your mythologic woman's of a kind, unlike all other members of her sex. Each poet paints her after his own mind, and with his own peculiar fancy text. Never too young, nor ever old. Her form wears at all times a soul-enkindling charm. When young, she's ravished. Old, she's courted still. Enough. Time cannot bind the poet's will. So that's a weird, deconstruction of mythological women. Particularly Helen of Troy, who is usually considered one of the most attractive mythological women, at least in the Greek world, if not a lot of fiction, where her one characteristic is that she was so beautiful, that she was the most beautiful woman in the world at the time. And the idea that Chiron, and by extension the author Goethe, is pointing out the fact that each poet paints her after his own mind and with his own peculiar fancies deck, never too young nor ever old. Her form wears at all times a soul enkindling charm. That's not wrong, and that's very true, because the standards of beauty change over time. The interest of the poet and the person describing it change over time, so they're going to adapt it to their societal and their personal views of beauty, and then they'll just completely swap the narrative, completely twist the source material, change literally everything about it to conform to that, because the core essence of Helen of Troy is she was beautiful. Not much more than that. Yes, there was more to her than that, but the core essence was she was beautiful. In the same way that Chiron was a wise mentor. He was more than that. But this story is utilizing him in such a way that poses him as basically just an exposition font, right? And this is a weird acknowledgement of the biases of a written work, or I suppose just biases of media, because poetry isn't necessarily written, it could be oral. It's oddly deconstructive, which I shouldn't be surprised that there is deconstructive ideas in older work, and that there are deconstructions in older work, because as long as there's been human media, there has been human media deconstructing other media. But it's just so odd to see that something that a lot of people still talk about today is just being it is explicitly being brought up. Each poet paints her after his own mind and with his own peculiar fancies decks. That's just true, and I'm kind of shocked that that's being brought up. Then why by time should Helena be bound? At Pherae she was by Achilles found, beyond the verge of time. Oh, rare delight to triumph where he loved is in fate's despite. And should not I on this wild heart of mine bear back to life that perfect form divine, that peer of gods, that soul of endless time, as grand as gentle, winning as sublime, thou long ago, but I today have seen that shape of light and dignity serene, fair to the eye, as in her grace most rare, and loved, desired, adored as she is fair. But now I am a slave to her, sense, soul, and thought. Come death and welcome if I win her not. Strange being, men would call you rapturous, we spirits simply mad, in doting thus. But by good luck, the fit has seized you here, for 'tis my usage, once in every year, to call on Monto, Asclepius' daughter, who doth in silent prayer her sire implore, even for the love and reverence which he taught her, some rays of light unleash his mind to pour, and turn them from their headlong course of slaughter. I love her most of all, the Sibyl Guild. Not given to fancies she, nor fond of pretense, but meek and gentle, yet profoundly skilled, unwearied in a wise beneficence. Unwearied in a wise beneficence. Stay some short space with her, and, trust me, she with potent roots will cure thee utterly. Cured? I will not be cured. My soul is strong. I will not grovel with the vulgar throng. Slight not the virtues of the noble fount. But see, we're at the place. Be quick, dismount. Whither to land through the grim dark hast thou across the pebbly shadows brought me now? Here by Penois and Olympus too, Rome grappled Greece in fight, and overthrew the mightiest empire e'er has known decay. The burgher triumphs and the king gives way. Look up and see, above thee, close at hand, the eternal temple in the moonshine sand. Hoof beats there, ringing on the steps of the sacred stair. Some demigods are nigh. Right, arouse thee, wake! 'Tis I! Welcome, I see thou still art true. And still thy temple home is standing too. Dost thou still wander, tiring never? Thou lift'st in calm contentment ever, while I go circling round the sphere. Time circles me, I tarry here, but he? This knight of eldritch glee hath whirled him hitherward with me. Helen hath set his brain a spin, Helen he is intent to win, but weets not how he shall begin. A patient he, of all men best, thine Escupulian skill to test. Me do such spirits chiefly please as crave impossibilities. On daring heart, bliss shall be thine. On daring heart, bliss shall be thine. This dusky path conducts to Prosperine. Deep in Olympus's cavern base sits she, and waits forbidding greets secretly. I once sped Orpheus on this murky way. Push on, be bold, and wiser heed display. They descend. I think that, oh gosh, this is such a long chapter. On the upper Pinois. Plunge into the Pinois. There, oh, what joy, as on we swim and plash about our songs to him, for those poor mortals all too fair. Waters of health, the spring. Haste ye then, and then when we gain the Aegean's azure main, rare shall be our reveling. All afoam the wave runs back, flows no longer in its track, quakes the ground, the water shiver, bank and gravel, smoke and quiver. Let us fly, come sisters all, lest disaster worse befall. Away, and let our pastime be in bright ocean's jubilee, where the billows, rippling o'er, break in sparkles on the shore, where Seleni's over our head her serenest luster spreads, and mirrored in the ocean blue, moistens all with holy dew. There is gladsome life and free, earthquake here in agony. Haste, then, hence, if ye be wise, on this region horror lies. One more thrust with might and main, set the shoulders to the strain, so shall we the surface gain, where all must give way before us. What a tremors here, what rumbling, what a gruesome grating grumbling, what a reeling quaking ho, oscillation to and fro, 'tis a most provoking pinch, yet shall we not move an inch, though all hell itself broke o'er us. Now in a wondrous wise a mound swells and rises from the ground. 'Tis that very old man Horror built up Delios' island of yore, heaving it from ocean's deep, safe a teeming dame to keep, thrusting, squeezing, stranging thew, stretching arms and bending shoulders. He, like Atlas to the view, heaves up earth and turf and boulders, sand and gravel, shale and clay, tranquil strata of our bay. So a section up he rends, right across the vale extends, though waist deep in earth still squatted, the colossal caryatid bears unmoved, without a groan, a tremendous bulk of stone. Nearer it shall not approach, nor upon our haunt encroach. Alone I did it. Truly men will this at last allow. Had I not shaken it up so thoroughly, this world would it be fair as now. How should you mountain ridges cleave, the gorgeous depths of ether blue, had I not thrust them forth to weave a beauty picturesque to view? When, whilst my primal sires look on, night and old chaos, I my force displayed, and of the Titans the companion, with Pelion as at ball, and Ossa played. Wildly we plied our youthful tasks, until to crown them all at last, like a twin cap, 2 mountain peaks, we on Parnassus madly cast, where now, for sport and joyance, meet Apollo and the Muses' choir. I even upheaved the glorious set of Jove and all his bolts of fire. So now, with stress stupendous, I have struggled up from depths profound, and for inhabitants I cry, to spread new life, and stir around. This for birth of primal eld we assuredly had taken, had we not ourselves beheld how it was from the ground was shaken. Still upward break and forest spread, and rocks still forward tread, but not for things like these shall Sphinx retreat, they shall not drive us from our sacred seat. Gold in specks and veins I spy, gleaming in fissures all about. Let us not a prize slip by, emmets, up and pick it out. Fast as the giant ones, yonder upheave it, seize, ye pliant ones, and never leave it. Quick, every cranny and ranging and fireling, none that there's any and can be too trifling. Murkiest, shiniest, look ye explore it. Each speck the tiniest, seize it and store it. Work away with a will, till it's all rolled out. Move the hill how it will. Do you get it gold out? Pile the gold up, pile away. We on it our claws will lay. Be the treasure what it may, sureliest of all bolts are they. We've found a footing here, how a puzzle is would task us. That we've come is very clear. Whence we come, then, do not ask us. Every country where life glows finds a master soon to guide it. So no rock a fissure shows, but a dwarf is straight beside it. There his busy toil he plies, model spouse with model mate. If 'twas so in paradise, that is more than I can state. But we, like this his foreign nest, bless the stars that hither sent us. In the east as in the west, Mother Earth yields foison plenteous. If she is a night these small imps did into being call, smaller still will she create, and she the kindred creatures mate. Hasten and fit ye, stoutly to quit ye, get to work quickly, strike your strokes thickly, in forces they fail, let their swiftness prevail, peace still is with ye, up with the slithly, buckler and glaive to forge for the brave, and you ye emmets ho, swarming there to and fro, metals with swiftest speed, fetch for our need, ye dactyls slumberless, tiny but numberless, quick from the... Sorry, I read the next line. Quick from the break, fetch a bundle of sticks and or meat and steak. Like, I'm allowed to say that word, but I don't think I can say that word on YouTube. Pile the fire, heap it up, feed it up, keep it up, charcoal to make. Generalissimo? The fact that this just drops in new characters, and like all of the characters I'm sure are mythological references. Whether or not I know them is another question. But a name like Generalissimo. With arrow and bow, away, hilly-ho! Shoot me these herons down by the marsh there, clustering numberless, croaking so harsh there. Quick, let me see them, slain all together, so shall we prank it in helmet and feather. Iron we bring them, ah, who is to save us? Which into fetters they forge to enslave us. Not yet is the hour come, to rise up defiant, then be to your tyrants submissive and pliant. Who are the cranes of Ibycus? Shrieks of murder, dying groans, winds that flutter in dismay. Oh, what outcry and what moans, to our peaks here pierce their way. They are all already slain, all the lake their blood doth stain, wanton passion for display. Shore the herons plums away, see it on the helmet's wave, of each bow-legged pot-bellied knave. Ye companions of our host, that in troops o'er ocean post, we to vengeance call you, in a cause so near your own akin, deaths so we avenge their fates, to this rabble, deathless hate. The F word, that name seems Italian. I mean, it does seem Italian because it reminds me of like Fortissimo, but I don't know. I'm assuming it's some mythological figure. Tired. The northern witches I could manage featly, but those strange phantoms baffle me completely. And then the Bloxburg's such a handy sight. Go anywhere you will, you're always right. Dame Isla on her stone keep watch and ward. Henry upon his peak holds cheery guard. Then to despair the snorers snort and blow, all as they did 1,000 years ago. But here, stand still or walk, he can say, if under him the ground will not give way. Through a small dell as presently I stroll, up all at once behind me starts a whole hillside, yet scarcely to be called a hill, and yet quite high enough to part me still. from my pet sphinxes. Down the valley here fires flicker, flashing round strange shapes and drear. Dancing and wheeling, see you win some crew, with becks and wiles enticing to pursue. So ho, then! We, who are used to twosome fare, must still be hankering, no matter where. Onward, upward, onward, still onward, faster and faster, then with a spiteful coyness delaying, prattle and playing, he'll think he's the winner, 'tis so delightful, thus the old sinner, to learn or master, fretting and groaning, his stiff foot bemoaning, hark, he comes grumbling, stumbling and tumbling, do what he will, while before him we fly, be it fair, not night, he must follow us still. Cursed fate, born but to made fools of... Cursed fate, born but to be made fools of, from Adam made mere dolts and tools of. We all grow old, but who grows steady? Wert thou not fooled enough already? We know they're good for nothing, all the race, pinched at the girdle, painted in the face, no bit about them wholesome, firm and sound. They fall to pieces if you clasp them round. We know it, feel it, see it at a glance, yet let them pipe, and after them we dance. Stay, he reflects, he pauses, lingers, advance, or he'll slip through your fingers. Push on, let no uneasy twitches of foolish doubtling stay your revel. Good gracious, if there were no witches, who the deuce would be the devil? Round this hero, round we run, soon within his heart for one, of us full sire will love ensue. Truly in this twilight gleam, damsels fair to view ye seem, so I can't be wroth with you. Nor yet with me too admits, as for your company most fit. She amongst us is too many, always spoils our sport, the zany. From your dear cousin hold aloof, Empusa with the ass's hoof. You've but a horse's hoof, yet still, her kinsman hail with right good will. I fancied no one knew me here, yet find relations, that's severe. The old tale, go where you will, from Hars to Hellas, kinsfolk still. With much decision, I can act, but can I take what shape I please in fact? But in your honor, for the nonce, I've donned just now this ass's sconce. These folks, they set great store, I see, by being of the family, yet, come what will, disaster, shame, the ass's head I will disclaim. Avoid this hag, who puts to flight all that is most fair and bright. What was fair and bright before, when she comes, is so no more. These cousins too, so smooth of speech, I'm doubtful of them all in each, behind their cheeks so rosy red, some metamorphosis I dread. Oh, actually, I read the summary of Metamorphosis last night because I'd heard reference to it all the time. I actually didn't know what it was about, so I just read a brief summary of it, and I didn't realize that Metamorphosis was literally just a guy turning into a bug. I knew that the concept was a guy wakes up as an animal, a guy wakes up as a cockroach, a bug or whatever, but I didn't realize that the entire premise was literally just guy turns into a bug, and it shows basically it's an analogy for someone suddenly getting into an accident or developing disability and just being unable to take care of themselves, and the strain that puts on their family and the strain that puts on those around them, and the fact that those people will eventually stop caring for them just by sheer the divides that can make. And I didn't know that. It is just a guy turning into a bug, then the world considering it a nuisance. Yeah, which is wild to me. I assumed that it was more. Although a lot of older work tends to be much smaller scale. From that brief summary I read, it was basically just guy turns into big bug, and it's just how the family deals with that, right? And Faust, he's gone from Germany to Greece, but ultimately is just following Faust around, just kind of getting up to shenanigans with Mephistopheles. There hasn't been any war with heaven or anything. A lot of older work has much smaller scale and more personal stakes, which is something that has kind of been lost with the rising globalization of media and just globalization in general. I think that's mostly due to the arms race Hollywood had with itself. Oddly enough, from what I understand, I think Bollywood actually is fairly low scale in terms of the plots in it generally aren't world spanning. They're generally country spanning or city spanning. And obviously it's still very over the top, still very high production value. like, I'm not saying it's a quality thing, but like from the very limited knowledge I have, it will be like, it's a bit smaller scale than Hollywood, because basically every Hollywood movie outside of exceptions has some world-spanning plot. Whether it is someone's trying to start World War III, or whether it's aliens are invading the entire world, or whether it's like the dead, like zombies have risen up across the entire planet. Like, it's very rarely centralized to a location, and it's very rarely focused on a specific area or group of people, which is not better or worse, but it's definitely like fatigue. And I've heard the take of where older stories that do that, they focus on putting your world in danger, and as opposed to the world, because the world was always too big and scary, was always too big and ambiguous. And then now we're at the point where we have context for the world, and if something happens to Japan or Russia or South Africa or like the UK, that is something that I'm going to hear about. That's something that I'm going to be aware of. That is something that I am going to care about for my fellow people. And so the state of my world is larger, but ultimately I don't have the same connection that I would if it was just localized to my city, right? No matter how much I have people that I care about in other countries, no matter how much my heart goes out to tragedies affecting other people, like, psychologically, that will not compare to it affecting you personally, directly, and locally. The world is no longer ineffable. The world is very effable. Personal stakes are more interesting if you care more about characters and their arcs. So, and that's what I'm saying, is that you can have personal stakes that are world spanning. If I am best friends with someone in China, and my significant other is in Germany, and my family is from Egypt, right? And I'm in Canada, right? All across the world. I care what happens in China because that affects my best friend. I care what happens in Germany because it affects my significant other. I care what happens in Egypt because that affects my family. That's still personal. So if zombies invade, I'm worried, like, oh, man, I gotta get to Germany first because I gotta see my significant other, or I gotta go see my best friend in China, like whatever it ends up being. And that is still personal stakes. But it's too big to comprehend. If you hear 50 million people died in the first 24 hours of World War III when the nukes got dropped, you're like, holy heck, that's a lot of people. But if you hear that there's a serial killer in your town where 5 people died, like the main character, like, there's a serial killer that killed 5 people in their town, that feels a lot scarier. Because 50 million, like, yeah, it's a lot. It's a ton. That's a stupid amount. It's more people than you'll ever meet in your entire life. But also, that's like less than 0.1% of the world population. That's fine, you know? It's not that bad. But 5 people, holy heck. That's like, I probably know someone who lost someone, right? If not knew them myself. If I'm not one of those people who lost someone. And even if the town has tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, and the proportion is still equally insignificant, it feels much more impactful because the sense of scale is smaller. If you take place in a city, a piece of media, and it never leaves that city, or it briefly mentions the outside world but focuses on that city, anything that happens in that city is going to be amplified. Like a petri dish of drama. Whereas when the entire world has the stage set, it takes longer for the drama on Asia to reach the drama in Africa. And then the drama in Africa to reach the drama in Europe. And then the drama in Europe to reach North America. And then North America to reach South America. Like, it takes time for it to travel across the world, both in universe as well as out of universe. Aromantic VTuber finds the world effable more at 11. So it's no, see, that's what I'm thinking. I'm tackling this from the perspective of Disco Elysium's F the World, right? Where there's a kid, like a delinquent in Disco Elysium, who has a jacket that says F the World on the back. And you ask him about it, and he explains that it's not that he thinks that the world is like ruined or that it's not worth saving, that you need to just like get rid of it, you need to start over, screw the world, F the world. It's the opposite. He believes that the world is beautiful. He believes that the world is amazing, and he literally wants to F the world. He wants to show his love for the world by effing the world, which is very funny to me. The modern Lovecraft would not freak out at how big it is. He would ask how magnets work and then ignore it when people explain. That's very funny. Come, set the work now. We are many. Essay your luck, if you have any. The first prize you may win. Come, try. What means this pitiful to do? A miserable wooer you, to strut and bear your head so high, and now amongst us we see him skip, your masks off slow and slyly slip, and be your true selves by and by. I've caught the prettiest and most lissom, the dry old withered bosom, and this one, this disgusting fright, ha! Have we caught you? Serves you right. I had the short one in my grips, a lizard from my finger slips, with pole most serpent-like and smooth, anon the taller jade I clasp, a thyrus staff in my grasp, with pinecone for a head, forsooth. What means it all? The stout one there, better with her perchance I'll fare. One venture more, the last here goes, juicy and plump, just of the size, the Orientals highly prize. The puffball burst beneath my nose. Away and round him flit, now like the lightning, now all blackness. Strike the witch's baffled son with fear. On silent wings, a ghastly crew, wheel round like bats, will make him rue the hour he thought of coming here. I would not have grown much wiser, 'twould appear. They're idiots in the north, they're idiots here. They're humbugs here's there, the ghostly crew, and bores the bards and people too. Here has been the precious mumming, and senses has, as usual, had the upper hand. At features fair a clutch I made, and in the grasp I found what appalled me. Yet had it only stayed, even the delusion that enthralled me. Where am I? What is this, and how? This was a path, 'tis chaos now. The road was smooth, but boulders low. At every turn perplexed my feet. Vainly I clamber to and fro. Now where can I my sphinxes meet? One night a hill like this to breed? Who could have dreamt so mad a thing? A jolly witch's ride indeed, when they with them with their Bloxburg bring. Yoo-hoo! Up here! My mountain's old as time. It's shaped the same as in its prime. My precipice jagged and sheer. Pindus is extremest spur revere. Unshaken here I lift my head, and when across my Pompey fled, that dream-begotten phantasm there at cockcrow will dissolve in air. Such fabled forms I oftentimes see arise, then vanish suddenly. By honor thine, thou revered head, with sturdy oak engarlanded. To thy recesses engarlanded. To thy recesses dark and deep, the brightest moonshine cannot creep. But down by yonder brushwood strays, a light that glows with modest rays. How strange coincidence is this? Homunculus? Is it? It is. Whither away, my little friend? The sun from spot to spot I wend, how long I to burst my glassy stream, and in the best sense is light and in the best sense into life to enter, only from all that I have yet to see. I can't find courage for the venture, but hearken in your heart. On two philosophers I've stumbled, who are wrapped in deep debate, and all their talk is nature, as they walk. I'll keep by them, for they, I wise, must know what earthly being is, and I at last am sure to learn, whither 'tis best for me to learn. Honestly, I thought you were talking about the world being faulty, like in the antonym of ineffable. Oh, that also works. I mean, that's what I meant initially. Like that's what I was going for when I first said it. But then I was like, nah, I gotta make it a disco reference. Unguard garland, for it is you whom shall have your knocked guard down. Oh my gosh. Arrow yawns. Gosh, I need water. Sippa sippa. What your own instincts prompts pursue, for when ghosts find a lodgment, your philosopher is welcome too. And be they many, be they few, to show off his skill, he is sure to conjure up a dozen new. Make no mistake, and you will never be wise, by your own doings into being rise.
Still, good advice it were not wise to miss.
Go on your way. We shall see more of this. Who's Anaxagoras? Anaxagoras? To Thales? Are these the philosophers? Are these philosophers I should know? Are these historical figures I am disrespecting by treating as if they're new characters? When they inhabited the earth long before my family lineage was established? Will not your stubborn mind the truth concede, or do you further demonstration need? This wave is stirred by every breeze that creeps, but from the beetling crags far off it keeps. This mountain ridge to fired being owes, from moisture all that lives to being rose. Let me go side by side with you. I yearn to rise to being too. Could you, O Thales, in one night produce a mountain such as this from mud and ooze? Nature has she with her creative powers e'er had regard to days and nights and hours. Calm and serene she plies her shaping hand. 'Tis not violence makes even what is grand. But here it is, raging plutonic fire, steam pent up for ages with explosions dire, burst through the ancient crusts of earth, and threw a mountain in a moment into view. What boots it to continue this debate? The mountain's there, that's well at any rate. In such dispute no one step we advance, yet lead that patient crowd a precious dance. See from the mountain how it bevies. They stream to fill each gap and crevice, with pygmies, ants, and gnomes it rings, and other bustling tiny things. Within your hermit's cell retired, to greatness you have ne'er aspired. To rule, if you your mind can bring, I'll have you straightway crowned their king.
What says my Thales?
I say no. My little people, little deeds. With great ones even the little grows to size, and greatness breeds. Look at these cranes, a dusky cloud. They threaten yon excited crowd, and so would threaten too the king. Downward they swoop on rushing wing, with bony claw and pointed beak. Their vengeance on the dwarves to wreak. The very air is charged with doom. Then tempest hurtles through the gloom. A wicked elf the heron slew, as round their quiet mare they drew, but that death-laden arrowy sleet arouses vengeance fell and meet, and in their kin such an ire doth wake as blood, and blood alone can slake. What now shall avail shield, helm, or spear? The heron plumes, what boot they? See how ant and dactyl disappear, the hosts they reel, they turn, they flee. If hitherto my praise has to be subterranean powers have been given, in this conjecture I uplift my gaze to those that have set their seat in heaven. Oh, throned above, through to endless time, wearing the freshness of thy prime, thee invoke, thee now, as then the same, threefold in form, threefold in name. My people in their woe to free, Diana, Luna, Hecate. Thou the bosom that expanded, thou of thinkers deepest grandest, thou aspect serene the wearest, thou soul of fire the that bearest, open the abysses drear of thy shadowy gloom, and here, with no necromancer's aid, be thine ancient power displayed. Is my prayer too quickly heard? By its force has the course of nature been disturbed and marred, and larger, ever larger, and more near, the goddess's orbed throne wheels down the spear, fearful to the eye and dread, turns its fire to dusky red. No nearer, mighty threatening ball, thou'lt crush us, land and sea and all. Was it then true that hags Thessalian, by dark incantations from the sky, drew thee down, and wrung from the blight and bane and wrung from thee blight and brain and misery? The shining disk overcast, it crashes, and now it lightens and it flashes. What din, what rushing, whizzing, pouring, what gusts of wind through thunder roaring. Behold me fall, abashed and prone, down at the footstool of thy throne. 'Twas I invoked thee, I. Do thou forgive my madness now? Throws himself on his face. Boo womp! Anaxagoras was a pre-Socratic Greek philosopher. Instead of feeding him hemlock, they exiled him for impiety. Well, okay, so you understand that the only reason why Socrates died is because Socrates was so annoying that he was put on trial. And Athens wanted Socrates to just go away. So what they did is the system they set up for themselves is the prosecution and the defense would both give a punishment that they ascribed should the defendant be found guilty. And if the defendant was found guilty, the jury, or maybe like the judge, like the person, the deciders of the trial would vote or like decide on one of the two punishments ascribed by the prosecution and the jury and the defense. And now what normally happens is the prosecution, and what they did with Socrates is they said, hey, our punishment that we ascribe for Socrates' crimes of basically like being a intellectual instigator and like antagonizing like everyone in Athens, we're going to propose execution. And that was intended that Socrates would go, I don't want to be executed. I am going to claim exile because I don't want to die. And then he would be basically just kicked out of Athens. He would go to a different city-state and be their problem, right? But Socrates, being Socrates, said, my punishment, if I'm found guilty, because this is not a crime, but actually I'm doing a fantastic public service for Athens, is I want my punishment to be I'm going to be given a home for free, and all of my meals for the rest of my life are going to be given to me for free. Because my punishment for doing this great service is that I should live a life of luxury. And so Socrates had a fully preventable execution that he only got due to how insufferable he was. And that's the level of like petty, that's the level of aura that you need to ascribe to. You need to aspire to be like Socrates. What things this man has heard and seen, they may or they may not have been, but I feel nothing, nevertheless. Mad hours are these, we must confess, and Luna sails along the blue as smoothly as she used to do.
Look at these pygmies haunt. See how the hill once round is pointed now. I felt a hideous crash and shock. Down from the moon had fallen a rock, and in an instant made an end. No warning given, or foe or friend, yet arts like these I must revere, which in one single night could so this mighty mountain structure rear, both from above and from below. As above, so below? Tush, tush, 'twas all a dream. That brood so vile is gone. Then let them go. That thou wert not their king is good. But now away, away with me, to ocean's glorious jubilee. Their guests of wondrous kind like thee, expected I, and honored be. So this was just like, what is it, Generation 4, Team Aqua versus Team Magma. One was Team Groundon, one was Team Kyogre, one was like, hey, fire made mountains. And one was like, no, it was mud and silt deposits. And like, they're both right, but hermetic cane seal, exactly. Gosh. Clonk. I clonked my glass, I'm sorry. That's me clearing my throat. Here I go, clambering over crags and rocks, among the gnarled roots of ancient oaks. The vapors are my own haws have a flavor of pitch, that much commends them to my favor. 'Tis next to brimstone, here among the Greeks, in vain for even one sulphur's whiff one seeks. Still, I should like to find out what the spell by which they feed the pangs and fires of hell. In your own land, you for a sage may pass. Abroad, you're little better than an ass. 'Tis not of home you should be thinking here, but how you should the sacred oaks revere. We harp on what we've lost, a feeble vice. What we've been using to's always paradise. But say, what 3 of those in yonder den, who squat and cower in the glimmering shade? Those are the Phorkyads. Go forward then, and speak to them, if you be not afraid.
And wherefore not? I am bewildered vastly, proud as I am, even I must needs avow, I never have looked up upon their like till now. Our hell's worst hags are not one half so ghastly. Who shall this insidious triad see, yet think there's aught repulsive in the deadliest of old deadly sin? We should not suffer them, not we, to cross the threshold of the worst and eeriest of our hells accursed. Yet in the land of beauty, here this antique land of glory dear, they children of the soil appear. They move, they scent me, it would seem, twitter like vampire bats, and pipe and scream. Sisters, the eye, quick give it to me, spy. Who to our temple dares approach so nigh? O most revered, permit me to draw near, and beg your triple benediction here. I am not quite a stranger, so forgive. Indeed, I am a distant relative. Gods of old standing in my time I've known. To Ops and Rhea made my bow of yore, the Parse, Chaos sisters, and your own. I saw them last night, or the night before. But such as you have never crossed my sight. I'm positively dumb with sheer delight. This seems most sense in what this spirit says. My only wonder is, no bard has sung your praise. In statues I've never seen you say. How comes this so, most honored ones, if you know? Yours are the forms that chisels should portray, and not such things as Venus, Pallas, Juno. In solitude and silent night inured, our thoughts have never on such matter turned. How should they? Living from the world retired, by none can you be seen or seen admired. For that you must a residence command, where art and luxury rule hand in hand, where from a block of marble, presto, hey, starts into life a hero every day, where peace, and waken us no yearnings fond. What should we gain by knowing aught beyond? In night begot, and kin to things of night, to ourselves almost unknown, to others quite. This being so, there's not much to say, but you to others may yourselves convey.
Not EP arrow. I had to get up early yesterday morning, and then I got up earlier than I expected today. And so I haven't had a lot of sleep the past couple nights. But I'm not EP. I'm tired at worst. And no.
This being so, there's not much to say, but you to others may yourselves convey. One eye suffices for the three, one tooth, and 'twill comport with mythologic truth, to merge into the essence of the three, and lend the semblance of the third to me for some brief space. How ye think? How think ye? Speaks ye sooth? Let's try it, but without the eye and tooth. Take these away, and you the essence take, for these are what the perfect picture make.
Press one eye close, 'tis very simple done, that's well. Now of your dog teeth show but one, and you will instantly in profile show our sisters perfectly from top to toe.
I'm honored much, so be it.
So be it!
Done. So, he's just closing one of his eyes, and I guess using magic to only show one of his dog teeth, and like his shadow looks like one, or his profile from the side looks like one. It's not even like a ritual. It's literally just like, hey, just stand over here, proper blocking. The camera's right over there, so make sure that the camera thinks that you're like this. It's just standard trickery. Done. Behold in me a Chaos's darling son. Chaos's undoubted daughters we, oh spite, they'll scoff at me as a hermaphrodite. Our new third sister is surpassing fair, of eyes we have, and eke of teeth a pair. I must get out of sight, or I know well, I'll scare the devils out of nether hell. Okay, so something interesting about this is this is one more chapter of Act 2, and then we're in Act 3, and then Act 3 should be the final reading next week. I need to kind of like rush through this. I have like half an hour, and then I need to go. But it was made fairly clear that not only is Mephistopheles not all powerful, which we kind of knew given by the fact that he was like caught in a binding ritual in like the first scene. He is like native to Germany, or maybe just like Central and Western Europe, perhaps, where he is like a German folklore, and he didn't know about the fates. He hadn't met many of the Greek mythological figures. And it's oddly like World of Darkness, which like, yeah, like guy who has only seen World of Darkness, getting a lot of World of Darkness vibes. But like the kitchen sink approach of the primarily Central and Western European like Christian influence, contrasted and distinct from, but not canceling out or overriding the Greek mythologic influences, which I understand is because Greek myth in European history has this weird, like, it simultaneously was actual religious beliefs of like Mycenaean Greece and then the Greece of antiquity, and then it kind of became more cultural. It became more cultural storytelling more than anything. And like the reason a lot of them use the Roman names is because, again, like the Roman Empire had some time where they genuinely believed in that as religion, and then that kind of shifted, and then it still persisted more as like folk heroes and mythologic figures, but not religious figures. So there's this weird like there's this weird doubling of what is primarily a historical incentive of Christianization of the world, and particularly Europe, where going around it would be, oh, you worship this god, actually that's a saint, actually that is someone who had the power of the divine but was not a god, was mortal, because to conform to Christian doctrine. It's so weird to me seeing Greek gods and Greek heroes and Roman incarnations of them and mythological beings, not just like kind of under the umbrella of, oh, these are all things under our theology, but also treated as distinct from. Like Mephistopheles has no power over them. That's why he was scared earlier. That's why he doesn't know about the fates. That's why he is in a new land. Like the Dryads, like, hey, you might be like top dog back where you're from. This is not the place where you are top dog. And Mephistopheles recognizes that, which is really weird, but really cool. Because like I've seen that sort of thing a lot in like modern media. I've seen that sort of thing where like, oh, we're gonna have it be like King Arthur, and also like King Arthur meets the Argonauts. That would actually be pretty cool. Like the Knights of the Round Table versus and/ or working alongside in the same world as the Argonauts. That'd be cool. But like it is odd to me to see, again, because like Faust is hundreds of years old. Like seeing older literature basically doing what a lot of modern people do in a quote unquote subversive way. Thou whom hast Thessalian erst, by unholy spell rehearsed, drew from heaven serenely bright, look from the vault of night. With thy silvery radiance lave every bright and rippling wave, and illume yon wanderers' throng, rising now the waves along. Thy devoted vassals we, Luna fair, propitious be. Loud with shriller voices sing, and let the o'er broad ocean ring, as all its people summoning. As we lay within our caves, fathom deep beneath the waves, safe from wind and stormy weather, your sweet song has drawn us hither. In our transports we, behold, deck ourselves with chains of gold, brooch and clasp with and diadem, rich with jewels and with gem, all your fruitage and all are these, treasure plucked from argosies, that now wrecked and rotting lie, lured to their destruction by you, the demons of our bay. We know that in the sea fish live well and merrily, without pain or care or wish, still ye throng so brisk and gay, fain we'd like to know today, if you're something more than a fish. Ere we hither came did we ponder well how things should be, brothers, sisters, come and far, is it needful we should go most conclusively to show that we more than fishes are? In twinkling they to Samothrace have spread away, and fair for them the breezes blow. What can they expect to gain, where the high Cabri reign?
Gods of wonders kind are they, who beget themselves always, and what they are they never know. Deign to linger on thy heights, gentle Luna, so the night's veil will tarry, and the day chase us not from hence away. Fain would I lead you to the old Nereus. See, his cavern must be somewhere hereabout, but such a cross-grained sour old carle is he, it is no easy thing to draw him out. Churl that he is, in his distorted sight, nor mortal man is ever in the right, but unto him the future is unveiled, so he with reverence deep is hailed, and bears a highly honored name, too many, too, he has been of kind. Let's knock and try him, I don't mind, it will not cost me both my glass and flame.
Men's voices, could they be, my ear that met? With wrath they stir my heart down to its core, forms striving to attain to gods, and yet doomed to be like themselves forevermore. Long years ago, had I like others felt, in ease I might, even like a god, have dwelt, but I was ever by the wish possessed, to benefit the men I deemed the best, and ever when I looked, in hopes to know, my counsels into goodly acts have thriven, and I found that matters were the same as though my counsels never have been given. Yet people trust thee, a man of ocean old, most sages of sages, turn us not away, this flame that bears a human shape, behold, whatever you counsel him, he will obey. Counsel! Has counsel ever availed with men? The sage's saw falls dead on stubborn ears. Oft as men's folly have been mourned in tears. Willful as ever, they will again. Warned I not Paris like a father, ere his passions did another wife ensnare. As bold he trod the Grecian shore. With awe I told him all that I in vision saw. Clouds steaming up, with lurid lights aglow. Charred rafters, massacre and death below. Troy's day of doom, immortalized in song. Beaconing throughout time the curse that waits on wrong. He mocked the old man's words, the ribald boy, obeyed the impulse of his lust, and Troy, a giant corpse, fell, worn with many a fray, to Pindus' eagles, a right welcome prey. Ulysses too, foretold I not to him Circe's dark wiles, the Cyclops' horror grim, his own delays, the follies of his train, what not besides, yet where to him the gain, till at long last the favouring billows bore the weary wanderer to a friendly shore. Such conduct to the sage is fraught with pain, yet his heart prompts him on to fresh essay. Of thanks that glad his soul, one little grain will Bush's loving gratitude outweigh. For we are here to ask no trivial boon, the boy there wishes to attain and soon, to being, and as sagely as he may. Mar not my mood, 'tis of no common kind. Far other matters now possess my mind. My daughters I have summoned here to me, the Doriads, the graces of the sea. Not on Olympus, nor on earth you'll meet, with forms so beautiful, so moving sweet. From water dragons, with a bending sweep of subtlest charm, on Neptune's steeds they leap, and with the elements so softly blend, the foam flakes scarce beneath them seem to bend. Mid rainbow splendors in her shelly car, comes Galatea, of them all a star. Of Paphos hailed the goddess since the day when Aphrodite turned from us away, and so for many a year, she as her own, the temple town has claimed and chariot throne. Begone! Nor by your questioning eclipse the solemn transports of a father's bliss. I would not have, in such an hour as this, hate in my heart, nor fury on my lips. Away to Proteus, ask that being strange, he will your purpose serve better than me. How yonder boy may pass from change to change, and come at length to be. We have gained nothing by this step, for, say we light on Proteus, straight he melts away. And, after all, he'll only, if he stays, give answers that bewilder and amaze. Still, such advice you lack, so, come what may, let's make the trial. Onward then. See, what are these that glide far o'er the billowy tide? 'Tis as if white sails were nearing, by gentle breezes steering, so radiantly they shine, these ocean nymphs divine. Let us descend, you hear, their voices sweet and clear. What we bring with us tonight shall contend with you delight. Flames of dread form from the field of Chelon's giant shield. Gods they be, whom here we bring, hymns ye must sing of glory. Ye must of glory sing. Great in might, though small in form, such a shipwreck are ye save. When in thunder and storm, ships go down beneath the wave, gods in deepest reverence held, from the days of primal eld. We bring the Kabiri hither, to keep peace while we revel in over the deep, for in their presence, so holy be they, Neptune will gently exert his sway. Yield we must to you, if a vessel's wrecked, ever yet her crew resistantly protect. 3 we have transported thus, the 4th refused to come with us. He declared he was the best, and had to think for all the rest. So one god, it would appear, likes at other gods to sneer, all that gracious are revere, all that are malignant fear. 7 of them by rights there be, where then are the other 3? To answer that were no easy task. For them you may in Olympus ask. There the eighth too you may find, who is never in anybody's mind. Their grace we have and hope to get. But they are not all complete as yet. Those incomparables still on and on aspire, for the unattainable, hungering with desire. 'Tis our custom, evermore, every throne to bow before, in the sun and in the moon. Pokemon? There to worship and adore, it repays us later soon. I don't know, we had Team Magma, we had Team Aqua, now we have Pokemon Sun, Pokemon Moon. What's next? How must our fame transcendent be, the leaders of this jubilee? The heroes of the olden times reach not a glory so sublime. How high soe'er the fame may run, if they the golden fleece have won, you have the Kabiri. If they have the golden fleece have won, you have the Kabiri. We. Oh, okay, got it. So some of them say you, some of them say we. We.
To me, these uncouth shapes are like vilest earthen pots. By token, sages their heads against them strike, and though hard, get them broken.
We know where Nintendo got all their inspiration. I mean, Water and Fire is probably one of the most famous opposites. Like, Earth and Wind is often ignored in a four-element structure, but like Water and Fire is one of like the universal recognized opposites. Like, up there like black and white, you know? Black and white, light and dark, water and fire. Like, those are the sort, life and death. Those are all like dichotomies that show up in basically any culture, religion, history, artwork that I can think of. Independent of like history, independent of the people that made it. And it's just such an odd idea. Or it's not such an idea. It's just like so prevalent where, like, obviously, I don't think that they actually just ripped off the inspirations from this, but it would be very funny if like someone at Nintendo was reading like a Japanese translation of Faust and they're like, wait, I have an idea for a new Pokemon game. And then a couple games later, like, we're running out of ideas. We should just go back. What inspired our previous games? Wait, Sun and Moon. I got it. That's just the thing they long for, just as coin takes value from the rust. What? Yeah. That's just the thing they long for, just as a coin takes value from the rust. I'm sorry. Proteus Invisible. What an introduction to a character. Such shows delight a fabler older than me, more prized the more preposterous they be. Where art thou, Proteus? Ventriloquially, now near, now far off. Here, and here. I pardon you the stale old joke. I'm a friend, no mocking insincere. I know you sham place from where you spoke. Farewell. He's close at hand, flame out now, wish, he is as curious as a fish, and wherever so he may hide, your blaze will lure him to your side.
I'll pour a flood of light, but gently though, or into splinters crack, my glass will go.
In the form of a giant tortoise. What shed this light so soft and bright? Good, come nearer if you'd see it. Don't grumble the trouble, 'tis but slight, and show yourself upon 2 human feet. 'Tis by our grace and leave alone, that which we've hidden will be shown. You have not lost your skill in dodges clever, of changing shapes you're quite as fond as ever. A luminous dwarf, was never such sight? Never! He wants advice from you, for he would fain to being real and complete attain. He came into the world, I've heard him say, only by half in some mysterious way. With gifts of spirit he is dowried well, but sorely lacks in what is tangible. And now the glass there only gives him weight. He with all his speed would be incorporate. Would be incorporate. A real virgin's son art thou. Thou art before thou ought to be. Thou art before thou art to be somehow. In other ways, methinks, all's not right. He is, I fancy, a hermaphrodite. So much the better, since in every case, he's sure to find himself not out of place. But much reflection here no good will do. In the wide sea you must begin anew. There in the little things commence, and on the less delight to feed. So by degrees you grow, and thence to higher excellence succeed.
The air blows sweet and softly here. The dew thrills me with raptures through and through.
All right, my pretty youth. And you, as you go on, will find it sweeter still. On this small tongue of land, the dew exhales a vapor more ineffable. See, right in front of yon wondrous train, that's water wafted hither o'er the main. Come with me to them. Take me too.
A wondrous ghostly three we are to view.
Upon hippocampi and sea dragons, bearing Neptune's trident. You know, I think Faust would unironically be like 10% shorter if it just didn't have multi-paragraph long introductions to the gods that don't actually tell you anything about the god or the character. A lot of them are just characters showing up being like, haha, it is I. You know who I am, so I'm going to talk about myself, but only in a way that if you already know who I am. The trident of Neptune we forge, that at will the angriest waves of the ocean can still. If the thunderer his storm clouds unrolls overhead, straight Neptune opposes their armament dread. And as down from above lightning quivers and flashes, so up from below wave after wave dashes, and the bark that in anguish twixt bellow and blast has been tossed to and fro, it sucked down at the last. Then, as he has lent us from his scepter today, serene and at ease, let us gamble and pray. Hail, ye priest of Helios, hail! Blessed one of the cheerful day, now must we to Luna pale, our devoted homage pay. Fair queen of the bow that shines o'er us so bright, thou hearest thy brother extolled with delight. To Rhodes the high-favored,
Oh, my yawn was too powerful, I broke my model.
To Rhodes with the high-favored thine ear thou dost lend, whence upon the pains eternal ascend. He begins the day's course, and on us at its close, a long level glance, keen and fiery, he throws. The mountains, the cities, the shore, and the wave give delight to the god, and we are beauteous and brave. No mist hangs around us, and if one comes near, a zephyr, a beam, and our island is clear. In manifold shape he beholds himself there, as stripling, as giant, as mighty, as fair. We were the first did such beings divine, in the forms not unworthy of mortals enshrine. Let them sing, and let them boast. Dead works are a jest at most. Beside the sun's life-giving rays, they melt and mold, and when at last their handiwork in brass is cast, straightway they riot in its praise. But what's the end of all their vaunted show? These images of gods renowned, an earthquake hurled them to the ground, and they've been melted down long, long ago. The throes of earth, or past or present, are always anything but pleasant. Life in the billows better fare. Thee to the eternal water bears, the dolphin Proteus. See, 'tis done. There will you thrive in all you try. So leap upon my back, and I will wed you to the deep anon. Yield to the noble aspiration of new commencing your creation. Prepare for mighty effort now. By law's eternal move, and thou, through countless changes having passed, shalt rise into a man at last. In spirit hence to ocean wide, unfettered there shalt thou abide, there roam as blithe as free, but yearn not for a higher state, for once a man incorporate, all's over then with thee. That's as things come, it is a fine thing too, to be a proper man in season due. If of your stamp he be, perchance it may, you are no fleeing creature of a day, for 'tis now many hundred years, since I amongst the pale ghosts foresaw you trooping by. Lo, what clouds are yonder streaming, round the moon in circlet bright? Doves they are, love kindled gleaming, pinioned as with purest light. Paphos forth has sent them, glowing harbingers of joy, love and joy. Perfect is our feast, overflowing, full with bliss without alloy. Roamers throughout the night might deem yonder halo merely haze, but we spirits know the gleam, hail it with a wiser gaze. They are doves, that round my child in her shelly chariot fly. Wondrous is their flight and wild, learned in ages long gone by. Your sleep can't be contained? I need to sleep more, but I also need to be productive, and there's not enough time in the day, so I probably don't sleep enough, is my honest answer. I'll survive. I too look at that as best, which to good men pleasure gives, when in warm and cozy nest something holy haunts and lives. Who are you two? In Cyprus's wave cave recesses, where the god of the sea annoys not, where Samos shakes and destroys not, where the breeze evermore waft caresses, there is Cyprus's chariot, the golden we watch, as we watched in the olden days in contentment serene, and our fairest we bring in the hushing of night, o'er the rippling waves rushing, in the bloom of her loveliness flushing, by the new race of mortals unseen. Our duty thus silently plying, nor eagle, nor yet winged lion dismays us, nor cross, no, nor crescent. However, through changes incessant, on earth they may fool it and rule it, now hither, now thitherward swaying, pursuing and smiting and slaying, waste cities and harvest field laying. 'Tis ever our care to herald our mistress, the matchlessly fair. Through the waves serenely cleaving, circling round the car divine, and like serpents interweaving, row on row and line by line, speed ye onward, stately gliding, ocean's daughters, pleasing wild, with your Galatea guiding. All her mother is in my child, grave is she, of godlike seeming, as of an immortal race, yet like gentle human woman, sweet and of alluring grace. Luna, shine thy radiance pouring round this flower of youth, for here to our sire we bring, imploring his goodwill, our bridegrooms dear. Boys we rescued when the billow whelmed them into the tempest's rack, crouching them on rusty pillow, we to life caressed them back. Now with kisses to delight us, kisses all of fire, must they for the life we gave requite us? View them then with grace, we pray. The twofold gain who would not highly treasure, in doing others grace, to do himself a pleasure. Father, did we well to hold them? Grant us, so shall we be blessed. All undying, let us fold them to our ever youthful breast. Weird thing to focus on, but okay. Like, I understand that holding someone to your breast is just like holding them close, but weird thing to focus on, calling them ever youthful. And also, if I'm understanding this right, it's a matter of like saving someone's life, and now they're indebted to repay you by like loving you, which is not very cash money. Would you enjoy your lovely prey, then mold each stripling to a man? But children know, I never may, bestow what Zeus only can. The wave on which you've swept and tossed makes love, too, changeful evermore. If on their hearts you hold be lost, best set them quietly on shore. Sweet boys, we love ye well, but soon from you alas must sever. The gods deny the wished for boon, a love that loves forever. Still loves and tends us, and your own stout ship boys will not falter. Such goodly cheer we ne'er have known, nor would for better alter. My darling. Oh, father, what ecstasy! Stay, dolphin, stay! My gaze is riveted by thee. Already are they past, already gone, in sweeping circles steering o'er the ocean. What is it to them, the yearning heart's emotion? Oh, would that I with them were sailing on! Yet in that one brief glance is such delight, as doth the long year's yearning well requite. Hail, hail, hail evermore! With joy I am brimming o'er, each fibre and nerve, through and through, by the beautiful pierced and the true. From water sprang all thing and all are by water upheld or must fall. Then, ocean, granting thou for our aiding, thine influence ever pervading. If by thee the clouds were dispersed not, if by thee the rich brooklets were shed not, if by thee the streams always were sped not, and the rush of the torrents were fed not, what then were the universe, mountains and plain? 'Tis thou dost all life that is freshest maintain. Okay, echoes here now. 'Tis from thee flows all life that is freshest amain. Already they are far from shore, meet me eye to eye no more, on the speed a countless train, all in festival array, in a long extended chain, winding, circling on their way, but my Galatea's car, still I shall see it sharp and bright, it is shining like a star, through them all upon the sight. That dear cynosure is steeped in light, though it be removed so far, still its shimmer bright and clear, ever true and ever near. Mid these waters soft and bright, all whereon I flash my light, is bewitching fair. Mid these waters, living bright, for the first time gleams thy light, with a music rare. But lo, what fresh mystery yonder between the groups of the children of ocean is seen? What flames round the car, rounding my darling one's feet? Now wildly it flashes, now softly, now sweet, as if with love's passionate pulses it beat. 'Tis homunculus, blinded by Proteus's deceit, the symptoms... symptom? Oh, it's a spelling error. Symptoms, as opposed to symptoms. The symptoms are these yearnings of intense. Soon the cry shall be heard of an agonized moan. He will shatter his glass on the radiant throne. Now it flames, now it lightens, now pours forth immense. What fiery marvel illumes the sea, where wave break on wave and sparkles of light? It so lightens and brightens and flashes, that we see their forms all aglow as they move through the night, and flames round them eddy and glimmer and gleam, then be Eros of all the beginners supreme. Hail, ye ocean billow, bound, with zone of holy fire around, water, hail, hail fire, hail all doing strains that here befall. Hail ye breeze, blowing free, hail ye cave of mystery, you we praise and you adore, mighty elemental four. Whew, end of volume 1. Jeez. Jesus. Jeebus crisp. All of the Jeeses. Au revoir, sleep well. Okay. Good night. Okay, so I do have to head out now. What do I feel about Faust thus far? I'm not gonna lie. Faust is weird. Faust is so weird. You know? Like, part 1 was meandering but cohesive. Part 1 was... Part 1 was Faust making a deal with Mephistopheles. It was him going around seeing the power of Mephistopheles. It was him drinking the potion that made him fall in love with the first woman he saw. He fell in love with the woman. He basically got Mephistopheles to, like, court her for him. And then she is set to execution because he killed her brother. And she's blamed or something, and then she went crazy, and then she dies, right? She goes to hell. And it's his fault. That made sense. Dog, I don't know what's happening in part 2. Like, part 1 also had the weirdness of, like, was it the Walpurgis Night Dream? Where there's just... Yeah, there's all the random characters who just came out, and, like... The storytelling of this, I think, is poor, personally. I don't know if that's a old school modern issue, because, like, with King in Yellow, that and the Monkey's Paw, those were things where it felt more and those were like 100 years ago, right? 130. Those were stories where it felt odd, but I could rock it, you know? It felt odd, and some of them were worse than others. Some of them were better than others. There was a couple King in Yellow stories that I just did not like. I don't think that the In the Court of the Dragon went anywhere. I don't think that the poem one went anywhere. But broadly, I enjoyed it, and I could connect with it. It was storytelling. This, we just had like 3 chapters, or like 2 chapters, following the Sirens and the Homunculus. The Homunculus was added in a couple scenes ago and is now like a main character for whatever reason. I thought the Homunculus was going to be like a little guide character that showed up like thrice. Like once when it first showed up, once when it was guiding them, and then once at the very end when it was like fulfilling its narrative role. Apparently it's its own character with its own side quest going off on its own adventures. Mephistopheles is not very powerful, apparently. He's like a schmuck, basically. He's going around and he's not even powerful more than some of the like mid-tier Greco mythology. Faust is just fully not done anything. Faust hasn't done anything since he killed his object of affection's brother and then just continually is relying on other people to do stuff for him. It's so much poetry. I do kind of love the poetry. Like the flow of this is quite pleasant, right? Like down gazing the lonely depths beneath my feet, I on this high-peaked ridge have purposely stepped forth, leaving my cloudy car behind that bore me well through days of sunshine over land and sea. Slowly, but still compact, it draws me from away, trailing in volumed folds towards the east. Like, I like the flow. It has a nice cadence to it. The rhyme scheme is generally pretty good. Sometimes it ends on a word where they pronounce it weird. I don't know if this was pronounced weird earlier. I don't know if it's a weird pronunciation choice. I don't know if my accent is weird, but it's something where, like, there's multiple times where it doesn't work, but broadly it does work. And I do rock it. And it feels like I'm reading like Dr. Seuss. It feels like I'm reading old school, like Dr. Seuss plus Shakespeare. And I enjoy that. I think that's good. But it's also like, there was one point where Faust went off on a side quest that wasn't shown on camera, that wasn't focused on when he met with the mother or the mistress or whoever. Then now the homunculus is getting side quest, which is focused on. Faust has just been dragged around by Mephistopheles. Some scenes, I think they forget Faust is there because it will be like Mephistopheles talking with someone, and then Faust will have like 2 lines at the very end of the scene, and that's it. Like, technically speaking, I'm not a huge fan of this. Cadence-wise, flow-wise, pretty big fan. I'm enjoying it. Content-wise, the technical presentation of Faust is drawing me out of it and making it so I'm enjoying it less. I enjoyed Act 1 significantly more than I enjoyed Act 2, because Act 2 was basically like, hey, like if Act 1 was following Faust and his descent into like temptation and the consequences therein, like Act 2 was wacky, like waving inflatable tube man, where it's just like shenanigans, right? And like Act 1 had plenty of shenanigans where he was courting the woman, and that is what led to a lot of the shenanigans in Faust to begin with. But like Act 2 is just so unfocused. Act 2 is just so all over the place. Act 2 is so obsessed with referencing mythologic entities that it's just not accessible. I don't know if that's a me issue. I don't think it's too many side quests. I think it's I think it's they're focusing on the wrong stuff. They're focusing on the homunculus side quest. They're not focusing on the Faust side quest of the mother. They're focusing on Mephistopheles talking to the Fates. They're not focusing on Faust and what he's up to. They're like he is the titular character. I expected him to be like the only focus. I learned very quickly Mephistopheles was as much a focus character as Faust was, which I like. I dig that. I rock that. But now it feels like neither of them are focus characters. Now it feels more like Goethe really wanted to show off these cool mythologic references that he had cooking, and so basically took existing characters and made them go to Greece for no other reason than to just like hang out. And like it feels a little self-insert Dante's Inferno to me, which like Faust isn't a self-insert, so it's not that bad. But it is something where it's just like it kind of came out of nowhere. It kind of feels silly. And also because like Faust is super torn up over the woman that he fell in love with because of the potion. And then he just instantly is like, you know what? I want Helen of Troy. Where's Helen of Troy? Greece, obviously. Let's go to Greece. It feels like they didn't even go there for a reason. It feels like it's nonsensical. And maybe there's going to be some Act 3 like deconstruction of like, ha ha ha, this was all intentional. And like, or Act 4? This says Act 4. What? Act 3? Oh, I guess it would be Act 3. Yep. After Act 2 is Act 3. Okay. So yeah, I guess we'll see how I feel about it. Next week is going to be Act 3 and potentially Act 4. I have to go. So thank you so much for swinging by, whether you are here in the live chat or whether you are watching the VOD after. I appreciate you either way. Tomorrow, I'm going to be dropping a TTRPG. Full stop. Like it's already kind of done. Like I just need to fix some formatting stuff. I'm going to do another pass. And I'm going to hopefully release it today. make a video today to upload tomorrow. And then tomorrow over on Twitch, over on Twitch, I'm going to be talking about my TTRPG. I'm just going to be running through it, and I'm going to be kind of explaining the system, my thought process behind it. I'm going to be answering questions, and it's probably going to be a shorter stream, but should be fun. So thank you so much for swinging by. I hope you have a lovely day, night, evening, whenever. Next week will be a normal Wednesday stream, and then Friday should be Faust. So take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.